Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the California Nevada Chat for this Friday, December 5th. Thank you so much for joining us. This will be our last chat of the year. Hard to believe that we've made it through 12 months of the year. My name is Nikki Gatch. I'm the Executive Director of the Southern California PGA. And on behalf of our president, Dr. Allison Kurt, as well as our colleagues from the Northern California PGA section, President Nick Bailey, and Executive Director Caitlin Doyle, we welcome you to the chat. As we wrap up this chat, I just want to say thank you for a great year. I know both of our sections have enjoyed a busy year of tournaments and education, lots of fun activities with junior golf, PGA Junior League, of course, supporting PJ Hope and our veterans. It's just been another amazing year, and we're looking forward to 2026. We will be continuing with our California Nevada chats. The response that we see from both sections is consistently very good every month. And so we want to continue to bring you this. It's a great way for both sections to collaborate. We'll be working hard on bringing some great guest speakers and presenters to you next year. We will start up again in January, so look out for the confirmed date soon after the new year. And I know both sections are getting ready for our annual meetings and our awards dinners. Northern California has theirs coming up this Sunday, Monday. Southern California will be doing the same the following weekend. So looking forward to that, celebrating all of our great award winners in the section and all the wonderful things they've done. And with that, I'd like to introduce Operations Manager for the Northern California PGA, sitting in today for Caitlin Doyle. Zach Silva, thanks for joining us, Zach. Any words on behalf of the Northern California section?
Yeah, thank you, Nikki. It's been a good year. I've been sitting in on a lot of these as you and Caitlin have orchestrated them this year, and I began my role in February. So it's been great to hear all of our guest speakers and see some insights. So once again, as Nikki said, thank you all for attending and looking forward to another good round in 2026. But just a couple last minute things on the NorCal end. Today is the last day to sign up for the annual meeting and special awards dinner that Nikki mentioned for NorCal. It is on Sunday and Monday. So for those of you listening in the NorCal section, just please sign up by the end of the day today, and we'll get you all squared away. It'll be a pretty good event. We've got some good guest speakers, so looking forward to it for sure. But that's all on our end.
Great. Thanks so much for joining us and look forward to seeing you. I'll be heading up
Yes.
north to join you. So look forward to seeing you. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Assistant Executive Director of Southern California PGA, Mr. Ed Winecki, to introduce our guest for today.
Nikki, thank you. And Zach, thank you very much as well for being here. It is going to be a great day. Welcome. Good morning, everyone. Glad you're on the call and have you here. Just as a reminder for everybody on the call, you will receive one PDR credit for this today. And so you'll see that come afterwards. But we're very lucky and excited today to have two great people from our company, Clipped, our partner, and basically what you'll get out of today is more than you had expected. I can promise you that, and you'll have a lot of great things. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, please put them in the chat box, and we will then answer those at the end. But let me move forward to why you're all here, and not to listen to me, but to see our special guest today from Clipped, JB Vanderwalt and Addie Baggerly, who are their national sales account managers. They're going to present you a master class from practice to performance, and I'll take it away. JP, it's all you.
Hey, thanks, Ed. Thanks, everybody else. Welcome to our presentation here today. Super excited to talk to you guys about Clipped. I'm pretty sure most of you have probably heard about who we are, and I think today we're, starting off. Addie and I will kind of introduce ourselves to you about our background and why we enjoy Clipped and why we super excited to present it to you as well with like what Clipped looks like on the inside. And then also at the end, we're going to do a little live walkthrough. A little bit of Addie will be actually my swing coach for the day. And then show you guys like how you can navigate into the system on like, hey, what to look for in your lesson prep, how it can help you with uh, shortening your discovery time on what to work on with your players during that lesson. So, just quickly about myself, I've originally from South Africa, but I've been in the US for the last 20 years. Played college golf for 4 years at junior college level and then Division two at Columbus State. And then played some professional golf and then went back to Columbus State and started coaching there for 2 years, then a little quick stint at Augusta University, and then the last 3 years I did at College of Charleston before joining Clipped in August this year. And then, yeah, been with Clip for the last 4 months and have really enjoyed the ride so far and look forward to presenting it to you.
Thank you, JP. My name is Addie Baggerly, and I'm also very new to Clipped. Also joined in August. A little bit about myself is that from a little bit of all over, primarily Florida and Tennessee, and I'm back down in Florida now. But prior to joining Clipped, I was lucky enough to play 4 years at the University of Florida. Shocker. And then I did have a COVID year, so I took that to Texas, where I played at Baylor. And that was an absolute blast. And along the way, got to play in some really cool golf tournaments, some of them in Northern California. I was lucky enough to play in the US Open at Olympic Club, and that was definitely one of the best memories that I've had in a very long time. That was incredible. And then, after I got done playing, I kind of jumped into the college coaching world. I coached for a year at Southern Methodist University in Dallas, and then also 2 years at the University of Louisville. And, while I was at Louisville, I was lucky enough to be able to use Clipped as a coach and seen firsthand, how we incorporated Clipped within the college space to really, broaden our players' arsenal and watch them get better on a daily basis. So kind of going into the successes that Clipped has had primarily in the college space, because that's where we have a large chunk of our clients right now, is that throughout this past college year in the 2024-2025 season, we had over 202 total team wins with Clipped. We currently do have right about 200 colleges that work with us throughout the NCAA. And within those 202 team wins last year, we do have the men's and the women's NCAA national champions of this previous year, and then 7 out of the 12 regional winners within the Division I college space. That's both on men and women's side. Just to kind of show how, Clipped has really worked within the college space and even expanding that over into the swing coach side of things and how we can get our players better. It's kind of jumping into what is Clipped. I'll let JP take it from here.
So to give you an idea of who Clipped is, was yeah, like right in there in the middle, it's a data-driven performance platform that helps you really just figure out like, hey, what's going on in the player's game? Like it's data-driven. The AI in the system looks at all your shots that you hit throughout the year. What you'll see here next is we'll show you our proprietary metrics is of player quality and shot quality and what makes that different and how that helps you with figuring out who these players are and what's making them tick in their golf game, specifically tailored to each individual user. And then when you look at their profiles, you get a really cool perspective of what's currently going on in their game. So we have functions like what to work on in our system as well. It'll use all your shots that you hit and then give you a what to work on based on certain buckets that we have in Clipped itself that says like, hey, focus on these areas of the game over these right now because it's currently affecting your game more than the others. And then we have some partner integrations that we'll show you later on with Garmin and Full Swing as well. Really excited about where those things are moving for us, and what the future looks like on that end for us. And then next we'll talk about some player. What is our proprietary metrics is year, for example. Before we get into the shot quality part of it, just want to show you a little bit about what our player quality is. One of our proprietary metrics is it uses your current performance to tell you who you are as a player. So on the right here, you'll see different levels of players, comparisons and benchmarks that we then have in our system to say to a player like, yeah, you might have a 5 handicapper that says, I want to use Clip. How does my current player quality reflect to where I want to be if I want to be a 5 handicapper? So they have some benchmarks in the system to kind of see, okay, this is where I'm currently at. And this player quality also reflects over all 4 areas of the game from off the tee through putting. And it also gives them a player quality for their entire game to say, this is who you are as a player with a combination of the 4 areas of the game, plus some scoring metrics that go in there to say like, hey, this is who you are, and this is your current like skill level for golf. And so then when the player comes and sees you, you know like, hey, what level of player you're working with. If you haven't seen them before, or if it's been a while, they maybe come maybe once every month or 6 months or 6 weeks or whatever. So then you get to see a little bit better about who that current player is. It is also scaled just the same way as our shot qualities are, from 0 to 200. And just really cool place for you to get a better understanding of who that player is based on all kinds of different factors.
So since kind of JP told us about what player quality is and how it, we take into account of who that player is over a course of time, we can break that down on an individual shot basis on what we call shot quality. It's on that same scoring system on a scale from 0 to 200. And we essentially measure each and every shot that our players enter throughout a round of golf or throughout a practice session, however they want to load their activity into Clipped. We're measuring each one of those shots through our shot quality. So again, it is on that scale from 0 to 200, 0 being the worst possible outcome, quite literally swing and a miss. I don't really think I've ever seen a 0 uploaded within Clipped, and I hope to never. And then, on the complete polar opposite of that, we have our 200 metric, which is, a perfection. So a hole in one, a hole out, anything within there. And then right in the middle, we have our male tour average. So PGA Tour average within that. So that can be seen as equivalent to, strokes gained, that 0.0 on strokes gained. We are very lucky enough to have partnership with the PGA Tour ShotLink to where we are able to get all of that data from the tour. And then, we factor in a lot to within our shot quality metrics. We talk about, the distance of the shot, start lie, and then something that really sets us apart from strokes gained is that weather and course conditions. We take into account how a player is playing throughout the day based on what conditions they're playing in. So for an example here, we have this shot hit to this back right pin. This is actually at Royal Liverpool. 140 yards, perfect conditions, absolutely perfect. Shot was hit to 15 feet, 8 feet of elevation. We can see our strokes gain number here is plus 0.19, while we gave it a shot quality of 95. Seems pretty standard, but if we were to add a bunch of different weather and course conditions, honestly, if we were to just have a really cruddy day, rain, 30-mile-an-hour wind, just terrible course conditions, and hit the same shot to 15 feet, we can see our strokes gain numbers didn't go up at all, as to where our shot quality numbers, they did go up, and that went from about 98 to 124. This day looks a little familiar. I was, playing in that US Open in the middle of the June gloom in NorCal. So I've got some pictures and videos of a day that looks almost just like this. So I could definitely tell you, I wish I would have had Clip to tell me that I really wasn't that bad that day, considering the weather and course conditions.
And then, so how do we add this data into Clipped? We have a few integrations. One is with Garmin, which we'll talk here in a minute about. But the main way to do it is through our app, and it's through the Clipped app. It's a round entry that the players can just do the traditional way of doing stats. It's going to ask you, like, what club did you hit off the tee? Where did the ball end up lying? What was the intention of the shot? And how far did it end up from the hole? What you get from that standard input is just basically some proximity numbers to give you feedback on. There's an enhanced way of doing this as well that then allows the players to say where the flag was on the green, and anything like that. So your players can get as in-depth into the data entry as they want to, but at the very least, they can do the basic stats entry, which gives them a really cool bunch of feedback, and we'll show that to you in our demo as well. And then just here's a couple of quotes from some really influential coaches around the country that have used it and how they feel like their players are really excelling using our data entry point from Clipped itself. And then once your players have started, like, okay, we've now entered all this data, we know what shot quality is and player quality is and all those things, but where the real power in our system lies is on this next slide, where we talk about what to work on. Like, your players then get to see, like, hey, what's really important to my current scoring? Like, who am I and what's driving me to play well and shoot these scores that I am? And so we have an importance to scoring metric that then gives you the four areas of the game from off the tee, approach, around the green, and putting, and gives you the percentage that each part of those or each part of that game is influencing your current performance. And it's broken down into importance, opportunity, and trend. Importance is simple, it's just how important it is. Opportunity is the opportunity for growth based on your last 12 months of performance. And then your trend is just like, hey, how are you trending right now, telling you whether you're in an upward or in a downward trend in that part of the game. What's important in this part of it, it's not always going to show you your negatives. It's also going to show you sometimes like, hey, you're really doing well in this area of the game. Keep doing this. It's really important to your scoring. So your players aren't always just looking at some negative stuff too. It's also it's encouraging them to keep playing well in certain areas as well. And so, like this, what to work on is like probably where you can, as a coach, also get some really good feedback on like what does this player need to work on when they come and see me, because this is also based again like on that current performance that the player is in. So, really exciting part of the game. I wish I had this because it really tailors the practice. You arrive at practice, you get to know what you got to do for the next 2 hours, or if you have 45 minutes, you can go and do two or three things that you know is going to impact your game. And so I wish I had this when I was playing 10 years ago professionally. And this part of it is what really excites me about Clip.
So going into some of the integrations and partnerships that we currently have one with Garmin, and Garmin has been fortunate enough. I mean, JP and I are wearing our Garmin watches right now, to where it has allowed us to have extremely easy round entry for Clipped. So we do have the option of the manual entry, which is either on our website or on our app. But then also, if you were to sell Garmin watches within your pro shop, or if you know somebody that has a Garmin watch and they're interested within a Clipped account, we do have a way to where the Clipped account and your Garmin watch, they do talk to each other in a way that it automatically tracks data integration, and how your player is, performing and tracking their shots throughout their round, to easily be able to kind of just add that straight over into Clipped. And if you see any discrepancies, just going in and taking 2 minutes to go and edit at any time. This has actually been a process that we've done through Miles College in Alabama, and we decided to send them a bunch of Garmins and have them essentially beta test it for us. And we've heard nothing but great feedback. And I actually get to hang out with Coach Smoot next week, so I'm really excited to be able to hear his thoughts and how everything has been working for his team within, Clipped and Garmin, and putting those two together.
And so our other integration is with Full Swing on the combines and the testing that they have. We currently sit in a shot quality feedback for you. So every shot that you hit in the combine then gives you a shot quality feedback of saying like, hey, your shot quality out of 200 for this shot was X. And so you get a really cool feel for like, hey, I got the spin rate and all these things, but what does it actually tell me? How good of a shot did I hit? So in the Full Swing combines and kits, you get you get the shot quality feedback from that perspective. And then hopefully in the near future, like some of this will start moving into your dashboard as well, which will improve your performance numbers as well. But we're really excited about this Full Swing integration that we've got going, and where that can lead to in the future.
So I alluded earlier in the presentation to a little bit of college success that we had. So now it's time to toot our horn of our successful college teams that we've seen throughout the years. You may recognize a few of these faces. Some of them, definitely one big Northern California school in there. And I feel like everybody should be able to recognize them, not only on the team level, but also individual players. So going into, sorry,
Yeah.
JP.
Now you go.
I was going to say, going into some of those teams here, as I mentioned earlier, we did have the national champions from both the men's and the women's side of this previous year. So we can see here that Alan Bratton at Oklahoma State has fully bought into Clipped, and then also the Northwestern team, Emily Fletcher being their head coach. They both ended up winning national championships for their school. And then also in 2023, we had Wake Forest win the national championship with using Clipped, and they were one of our first few teams on the Clipped platform. And I personally believe that we would not be as successful as a company that we are today without that Wake Forest team. because, Ryan Potter, their assistant coach, looked right into that Golf Channel camera and said, we wouldn't be here without Clipped, and we're very lucky to have them on board. And then that team that I feel like a lot of y'all should recognize is that Stanford team down the bottom. They won national championship twice using Clipped, and they've had great success, and we've heard nothing but great things from Coach Walker and Coach Brooke. Brooke and I go way back. We've played a lot of junior and college golf together, so I'm very lucky enough to be able to work with them very closely on their Clipped account and kind of diving into their stats. So for more on a player success side, we've had a lot of success with a number of individual players. So just starting up here at the top left, we have Hiroshi Tao from Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech was also one of the very first schools to sign on with Clipped. I believe they actually were the very first school. Very lucky to have Bruce Hepler be a big advocate for us, and we're very sad to see him leave college golf after this year. But we are very excited for the future as to where that will entail. But Hiroshi Tai won the national championship individually with Clipped, and then we also have Lottie Woad up here in the middle. She won the Augusta National Women's Amateur, and she also was the #1 player in the world. And we also had not only her on Clipped, but the other #1 player in the world for the men's side, Luke Clanton, was actively using Clipped when he was in college as well too. Another standout from Florida State. So there's 3 Florida State people here. And our final one is Maribel Ting, who won the Annika Award this past year. The Annika Award, for those that don't know, it's overall outstanding player of the year for women's golf. And she took home that trophy, and it was very impressive. The Florida State women's team, they had the #1 and the #3 amateur ranked in the world on one team, and I don't think really any other team has been able to have that on one roster, and that's absolutely incredible feat for them. We also have another individual national champion, Maria Jose Marin from the University of Arkansas. And then over here on the right, we have Melanie Green from the University of South Florida. Melanie Green went on to win the Ladies British Amateur last year, and this hasn't been done, oh my gosh, by a U.S. player, and I want to say in nearly 30 years. So Melanie had a great feat there. She also just won the Epson Tour Rookie of the Year and will be an LPGA rookie this next year. So we are excited to have her on Clipped as she continues her professional career and kind of see where that kind of brings her.
So I think next what we'll do for you is like show you a little bit about how you can actually use Clipped in your day-to-day world with coaching and teaching at your clubs. What we have found is like, yeah, sure, like demoing like what is inside a Clipped is great, but like we want to show you actually like how you can use it in your day-to-day when you have a client or you have like 10 minutes to kind of prepare for the next lesson or scrolling in like what does that look like? What is important to know that is Clipped is an app, so it works on your phone or on a desktop either way. We're going to show you the desktop version here just so you can see what it looks like side by side, so you get a really cool view of it. But everything we show you is all living on the app. You can just scroll up and down instead of seeing it side by side. But it's a really quick way for you to see, hey, I got 5 or 10 minutes to prepare for this lesson. I just want to do a quick discovery before they arrive, so I don't have to ask too many questions before they get there about what's going on in the game, and you can be a little bit more prepared for helping them on a current basis.
So now that we've opened up the Clipped app or the desktop view, I'm just going to kind of play myself as if, I was JP's swing coach and we have a lesson coming up in the next, 15, 20 minutes. So if I were to, be eating lunch before JP's lesson, let's say his lesson's round 1, I would come in here, and if he were a Clipped user, just right off the bat, I'd be like, okay, let's go look at JP and see how he's been trending a little bit. So for me as a coach, I would come in here and click this teams portion, go into all of my players, and then really kind of go in either into JP's account here, or we can, see how he's trending overall in this heat map section within here, and we can see all of our players at a glance, but I'm just specifically looking at JP right now. So if I were to kind of look at JP and see how he's been trending over the last 20 rounds, We can go in and do that easily from here, and then I'll just go ahead and click on JP's profile because I want a little bit more in-depth view. So straight from his profile, we can also go straight in and see his heat map down here again over the last 20 rounds. So me knowing JP, I know that he's been fighting a little bit of an injury recently. And within this, 20 rounds may not be accurate as to how he's bouncing back from his injury, because I know that he really wants to kind of tighten the screws up after having to sit out for a little bit. So for me personally, I would come down here and change this to about past 3 rounds for JP, click apply, and then we can go ahead and see his performance heat map as to how he's kind of come back from that. So one thing I do know about JP, and his stats also say it here, he's a really good driver of the golf ball. That is his strength in his golf game. And so for me, and I can even see down here that, we're on a little bit of a downward trend off the tee. So that is really what drives him in his scoring, to where if we kind of see that go down a little bit, we want to make sure that we're giving JP the right tools necessary in order to kind of bring that up and elevate the rest of his golf game with it. So we can see very easily, if we wanted to go to his off the tee dashboard and kind of tinker around as to what's could be going wrong or what also could be going well, we can go ahead and click on that directly from that heat map, and it's going to take us right into who JP is as a player off the tee. Those filters did stick from when I changed them on the previous page. So it's still everything here on the bottom half of the page, not in the header up top, is going to be showing data from the past 3 rounds. Anything up top is going to be showing how he has been overall over the past 20 rounds. So it's good to come in here and be able to notice that his shot quality for the last 3 rounds specifically is 93 versus the last 20 rounds is 101. So we can see this trend here. And then for me as a coach too, I mean, the first thing that stands out is that, JP, we're missing it 37% to the left.
I mean, I've been fighting that left miss the last couple of rounds, I told you. Essentially, like what I struggle with when I'm playing and came back from this injury, I've had a hip injury, a right hip injury. So I'm really struggling on getting into the right side, turning into my right side. And I struggle a little bit with stacking on the left side, and that impact I shift back and then I flick it pretty badly on the way through. So, essentially my feels and my reels here is feeling pretty similar in my opinion, like from what I would feel as a player. So I'm really excited about having this lesson with Addy in trying to get to kind of nail down like, okay, what's going on here? Addy, do you see any sort of like correlation between this and my approach game on like what it's been like the last few rounds on my approach game?
Yeah, absolutely. Just kind of dive in here. We can easily go into the approach side, click on your approach dashboard. And we can first note really quickly that, our shot quality for approach is a whole lot less than it is off the tee. So that could be just, I mean, again, it could be just sitting out for the amount of time that you have and not being able to, practice and get those reps. But then again, if I were to kind of dive down here over those last 3 rounds, we can see primarily the miss is also short and just a little bit left. If we wanted a little bit more data, we could, spread that out a little bit on those rounds. But we can even look into the proximity of the hole here and say, okay, JP is a good driver of the golf ball, so let's really go and make sure that, his mid to short irons are tighten the screws a little bit and make sure his proximity isn't, off the charts.
How would you find that?
Yeah, so we would just scroll down here on your profile. We could either go into, our enhanced portion over here and look at the exact, proximity based off of the club, or we can just kind of do it the easy way over here on the right. And we can see the amount of clubs that you use and how often you use them. And if we were to hover over one of those, sorry, JP, I didn't mean to air you out with the sandwich
no.
like that.
I mean, essentially what the data is telling us is like, I have felt like I'm not hitting my wedges, especially in like sandwich and pitching wedge. I've really struggled with those. I've been toying with the idea of like figuring out if it's equipment wise too, because over a long period of time, my pitching wedge hasn't been the best thing in the world. And when you look at the app DNA on the bottom right, it confirms my feels. So the last few rounds that I've played from 100 to 140, I haven't really done great in that range, and that is predominantly in my wheelhouse of that sandwich to pitching wedge area. So, like what I found really interesting after my round I played this past weekend, I felt like I could like go back and test my feels to my reels, and the reel wise, I could confirm it with these diagrams right here without going too far deep into my stats. It was just a quick go into my profile, open up my dashboard, and then be able to go and see what was my off the tee and approach stuff looking like. Because I've been struggling with that left miss that really causes a lot of issues for me. So it's been really cool to come in here and see that. And now, being able to know that my coach can see this right before arriving. And then when I arrive, I don't have to spend 10 minutes talking to them about what's going on. So we can dive right into it in the lesson and start working on stuff. And maybe like that first 5 minutes, you can quickly show on your iPad or anything like that, like, hey, this is why we're going to do this. We see these numbers. What are you feeling? What's going on? My immediate feedback as a player would be like, hey, I'm really struggling to get on my right side so I can get a full turn. I'm short on the turn. I feel like I'm short. Can we work on those things, and stuff like that? And so it'll really like give you that a chance to really be on top of your game when you're talking to your players, and make sure that you address anything that's currently like really affecting their game.
Yeah. JP, you mentioned that little bit of the struggles with the irons from 140 to 180. I think that there's a very easy way in Clip to be able to go in and narrow that down. We can go into JP's just what to work on tab straight from his dashboard from that 140 to 180 number. And then it's going to give us a lot of information here and a lot of great information, as to what some of those things that JP could be feeling throughout his mid iron play. We can easily see, he struggles a little bit, like you mentioned earlier, that this tells me that this 140 to 160 number could also be an equipment issue in a way of, it kind of takes a little bit of a drop off there within that. And then we can also see his player qualities throughout a year's trend within this dashboard as well, too, as to where we can see as to why his opportunity for improvement is high, because his previous results within that category was a little higher than where it is right now. But that's why JP has decided to opt in for a lesson. And that's why we can dig into his data and really kind of get to exactly what we need to work on within that.
Yeah, and if you scroll down, you'll see that even here on this is all part of the basic look that you get without any of the enhanced data feedback. You can see here that for instance, my game year, my fairway numbers are lower than anything else. So even when I am putting myself in play, which you can see on the left there, my driving numbers previously was good enough to play decent golf, but my approach game is really lacking here. And so you can also see in the importance of scoring diagram on the left that this is why the approach game is such a big role to me, because even when I do put it in play off the tee, I'm still not really able to even get it in a reasonable proximity of the hole, or regardless of that, my greens hit regulation is pretty low. So they're just all that kind of feedback that you can get from here to see what's going on in the player's game. And on the left there, you'll see a bunch of different buckets that we have to give you more of an idea of what type of buckets your players will be looking at. Is those from 50 to 100, 100 to 140, and stuff like that. It's just really good feedback for you to kind of know what's going on in the player's game, and quick and easy to find with these diagrams. But
Absolutely. So I think that JP, if I were to kind of come in here and, if we were to have our lesson and that lesson were to go great, and if you were to ask me, hey, coach, what kind of drills do I need to do in order to, balance my game out a little bit more? It's very easy for me as a coach to kind of come in here and really understand that Clip does have that arsenal of drills ready for you within this what to practice page. And something unique, and I personally love, is that the what to work on page and the what to practice page, they talk to each other. They're always in communication. So we can note what that player specifically needs to work on, but once we go to the what to practice, it tells us very specifically in there, and it gives us drills based off of, that importance to scoring and how sensitive that area of the game is to that player's overall scoring. So we can see here that we talked about JP's 140 to 180 numbers. So very first drill it recommends here is, mid iron play. And, I can go ahead and it looks like I've already added this to JP's practice plan. But if I wanted to add anything else within that, I can set up a practice plan here within Clip too for him to be able to, in the time that we're not together, to be able to tighten those screws. And then, we can always be able to check and complete, and we get notifications once that player has completed that drill that you have assigned them within that practice plan.
Addie, am I correct in like my feel when I look at these things is I feel like these are ways to kind of test what I'm working on technically during my lessons. Is that kind of the right output to have or outlook to have towards these drills, or are these strictly like, hey, these things are the only drills that you can do, or am I correct in thinking that hey, I can use these as test measures to see how well I'm working on my technical stuff?
Yeah, I think that we've seen a lot of success in players that use these drills as tests, and it's very easy to because we do assign, shot quality data for every shot even hit within one of the drills within Clipped. And the data entered on that side. So what we see within trends within the drills is that a player is primarily going to practice better than they play. I mean, there's really no initial tournament pressure on the line when it comes to practice. So any type of trends that we see with a lot of players having a little bit higher of a shot quality numbers for practice is very normal. But again, that just gives those tools back to the player necessary in order to know, like, hey, I've done the reps. I've put what my coach has said to work in a way that we can easily turn that around and take that to the golf course, whether or not it's, just playing with buddies in a skins game on Saturday or taking that out to some tournament play as well too.
Yeah, and I think the other part that is like really cool that I found is that when you complete these drills, they affect your performance dashboard numbers. So these drills are in here. They're not just, you're not just logging drill after drill. Like they're actually playing a role in performance. And what we've seen with players is that they take a little bit more extra time and extra effort into doing these drills because they have a direct effect on their performance numbers. So they are a little bit more accountable during practice as well. So your elite or juniors that are trying to become a little perform at a higher level, they do tend to like really buy into these drills and pay attention. Like they get in tournament mode, like pre-shot routine. You can even test the pre-shot routine during these and see if there's any tweaks that helps with improving how they hit their irons, or maybe there's some putting stuff that you can address with altering their pre-shot routine, and maybe they need to go faster and see what happens when they go in a faster routine or slower routine or anything like that. So some really cool stuff that can come out of here from our drills that we have that affects your performance numbers overall, and being able to log our activities. Addy, if you just click on that log activity function there, I'm able to go in and log activities. So if I finish my lesson, I can click on lesson in the top left, and then I'll scroll all the way to the bottom. I fill in all this information, and at the bottom, I can drop in some quick videos from the lesson that I had today about like what we worked on. So I have it as a reference point moving forward. Drills that might be done or anything like that can be popped in here. Or even if I'm away and like, hey, I might share this back with you as a coach and say, hey, I've locked a few videos in my Clipped account for you to look at. Can you mind taking a look so that I don't, you don't have many different places to look for them. They're all in one place. I know a lot of people use Coach Now and all that, but there's another place to be able to share that information, and your player doesn't have to scroll through thousands of videos. It's all in one central place for them to see it.
And JP, can you search for an activity if you want to try to find it months later?
Yeah, sure. That's pretty easy. Like, you just go back, go into my profile, and then in activities, you can just go and filter it out and look for it as well. So when you click on filter, you're able to filter out the type of activity, whether it's rounds played or tournaments or qualifying or launch monitor testing or anything like that. You can just select which ones you're looking for. If you're looking for a specific date range, you just do that as well. And then you can just filter it out by then selecting show activities, and those filters will, or everything that matches those filters will then show up. So it's pretty easy to find it. And it's really easy to navigate between it all.
All right.
Alrighty, well that's everything we have for you about how to use Clipped or anything like that. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. We can jump back into the platform too. If you have any specific questions about something you saw or anything that you would like to see a little bit more in depth, we're happy to jump on that for a few minutes and show you a little bit more.
That was great. Thanks, Addie and JP. That was
Nikki,
wonderful. Yes,
Nikki,
John.
if you don't mind, I'd like to share something with our audience. I think it's pretty important, and it was an announcement we made earlier this year. By the way, many of you will recognize my name and face. I'm John Boykin. I've been the senior PGA professional advisor for Clip now for nearly 4 years, and we now offer a free coach account to all PGA members and associates. I think you can see on this slide here the demo QR code to click to get you a full individual demo with Addie or JP and get you sort of acclimated as to how to put it into your teaching business. And the other thing that we offer is both the Northern California and Southern California PGA sections are partners with Clip that your players can get a 25% discount off of the annual fee of $240 or a net amount of $180 for an annual subscription to Clip. So there are directions within the demo when you work with Addie and JP to make those kinds of discounts happen and get your players using it. And again, for you, a free coach account where you can be like Coach Addie was with JP and see all of his data, but also all the players on her teams. And you can set up your account to have teams of juniors, teams of elite amateurs, teams of just people who want to get better faster. And just kind of want to share that information with you as well. So when you go to book your demo, Addie and JP will share that information again. But it certainly is a great way to continue to partner with Clipped via the Northern California and Southern California PGA sections. So I just wanted to share that with all of you and my best wishes for the remainder of your year and a very happy holiday season. So, Nikki, I will turn that back to you. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Appreciate that. What a great opportunity. So for those of you on that are coaches and instructors, really strongly encourage you to take advantage of this great opportunity with Clipped. Clipped has been a great partner with both sections, Northern California and Southern California. We know they partner with other sections across the country, but we also know that we are their favorites. So we appreciate the partnership for several years now, hopefully for several more to come. You all have been great. It's been fun to watch your company grow and evolve to what it is now, and we look forward to even a brighter future. Addie and JP, thank you so much for walking us through that demo and sharing all the information that you did. I appreciate that. Love seeing the photo of the national champion Pokes. So thanks for throwing that in there. We just really appreciate you all jumping on and your time and certainly your support of both of our sections. Thank you to all of you for joining. If you did phone in, again, please reach out to your respective section because it's not attached to your name. So we want to make sure that you get your PDR credits. Everyone else that logged in and we can see your name, we will take care of that. And with that, thank you again for another great year of the California Nevada Chats. We look forward to catching back up with you next month and hope everyone has a happy and safe holiday season. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.